Good evening. Call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Hampden Selectboard and Board of Health being held in the Townhouse Auditorium on April 7th, 2025, 6 p.m. This meeting is being conducted in person and remotely using video conferencing technology. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is anyone recording the meeting other than ourselves?
It's
Kristen Rivers. Hi, Kristen Rivers from the Wilbraham Hampden Times.
No, she has it all typed out, ready to hit enter as soon as you say that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Do we have any minutes? No.
Warren,
No minutes.
Warren?
No, okay. First item on our agenda is the fire department update regarding the fire station renovation and expansion. Who would like to begin?
I'll kick it off.
Why don't you introduce your committee for thousands in attendance?
Well, I mean, Selectman Craig Rivas is on the committee, Chairman Mark Barba, Lance Trevelyan, Gary Petzel, and Ed Rigney at the end there. I'm not on the committee, I'm associate.
You're just some random guy that came in.
Yep, just brief up-to-date 2019, I think we came from the board for addition. It was said the building assessment study should be done, so we had that done. I don't think the board was happy with that and was instructed maybe possibly a different approach. We had Tectron come in and they gave us some ideas, some drawings that didn't really work with the price and our site. We went back to drawing board and we came up with the third architect here. Mark, the name of the architect is?
Secoshio and Associates.
That's how you say it.
Yeah, exactly. So right off the bat, they seemed very up to date. They gave us great feedback and they came up with a floor plan that would work with some final adjustments. The committee's worked very hard up to this date. So I'd like to thank them for
I want
that.
to share that.
They've been great, you know,
Floor plan
work
stuff.
with the architect and them as well. So I guess I'll turn it over to the chairman and he can give you a breakdown of the price of where we're at.
Do you have the drawings still up there?
I can show them if they'd like.
Sure.
Yes, please.
The ones that we saw in the,
Yeah, we had that at the other meeting,
Last set if you have them. So, well, Brian's looking for that. So basically, we got back from the architect last week, some numbers. That's what we've been waiting for. The project we have come up with, and you'll see it on the drawings, basically is existing station, our existing station, as you guys know, is right around 5,000 square feet currently. Yep, that's the site plan, if you got it, page 2. And that's actually good, if you see the shaded area, that's basically the outline of the current station, and the rest of the hatching around you can see is the proposed expansion renovation. For all intents and purposes, what the design basically is squaring up the building. You can kind of see, if you go back a little bit, Brian.
I have mine, I'm small, scale down a little bit, yeah, just so you can see it on screen.
Yeah, and that's a fine picture too. So basically what we have here is the existing station, which was 5. The lower area now that is addition / renovation is approximately another 5,000 square feet. There is a second level, if you will, with this design, which is over the middle section, which is designed now as a completely unfinished future use area if needed, storage and mechanical area. So what we're looking at right here is everything on the first floor. We've configured it this way, so all the apparatus, as you guys have seen, is entering from North Road, and then the rest of the area is designated now for basically what a fire department needs. The hot zones, the cold zones, gives us our training room, gives us the office area, very importantly, our turnout gear, which is in kind of the back left corner, along with all the cleaning, the gear extractors, and trying to keep all the contaminants and stuff when we come back from calls kind of isolated and away from the rest of the building. The design, right out of the gate, these guys came back with a design. This is the final one, we did some tweaking here. We thought fit the site as, working with what we were able to work with. We feel this design that they've come up with here addresses our needs that we have, certainly now for equipment, for storage, for safety, certainly, especially around the apparatus, the bays. Everybody knows who's been there. Right now, it's a dangerous place. There's no room between vehicles. We can certainly get into the nuances of how much bigger vehicles are now. Fire equipment is now than it was, 50, 60 years ago when the building was designed. We've got an area for the public right up front so they can come in. It's basically it flows well, and that's basically, that is the design that we've come up with. There are a few tweaks to this that we would be doing, but for all intents and purposes, this is the design.
Do you think it'd be better to show the 3D rendering versus that one?
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
I like the 3D one.
Yep. That's a great shot on the North Road shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's good.
Yep, that's a great
So
shot.
the blue walls indicate the existing station that is there on North Road now, and everything around that with the gray walls would be new.
Be new, right. So,
Mark, with such a large-scale change, and not to throw it out there, how much is there, you've got some change of purpose there, how much more is it just to build that instead of rehabbing or gutting what you have, basically? Because you got $1 million for electrical, which I assume covers the whole building at that point.
yeah, so
I mean, did that come up?
maybe this might answer. So what we basically, well, the reason we've done this and what we have is, at the end of the day, we're certainly keeping our existing building. Now, obviously, there's extensive remodeling all inside. The price that they're giving us is all new mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Does that sort of answer?
And equipment, and vehicles, parking.
And I think one of the main features of this is all the auxiliary services, if you will, are on that back wall, so which would be the west wall. And so we don't have to do any trenching in the existing floors, which is expensive. We found that when we did Wilbraham, that every time we cut a floor and dug a trench to put in a soil line or whatever, it's just brutally expensive. So by going across the back, have all of that in the same flow. Because of if you could go back one slide to show the verticals of the roof line.
Yep.
What we're doing is taking the third bay, the existing bay, and down a little bit more, and making that higher, and then with trusses, we'll gain some space for storage as well. So that's the bulk of it. Now, the electrical service that's there really won't suffice this whole building. So we're moving it out of the office area, you're putting it in the other corner, and then all the mechanicals for this project will go in that upstairs truss area, if you will. And we're getting floor space where we need it. So not only from a safety perspective of manpower and all the chemical aspects of firefighting today, but we're picking up storage space that we drastically need between vehicles and just a place to put things. It's Fibber McGee's closet will look good compared to this.
Well, with the total, for instance, you had a certain, if you will, length of bays all added together. You had the, 3 bays plus the one in the back, which total running length of X number of feet. Do you have the same here, or you've figured in a little more?
There's if you go,
Back to the top thing.
there's one, currently we've got 4 bays.
Right.
Three on North Road, 1 in the back.
Right.
This project has 5 bays, so we do have an extra bay. But obviously, the benefit, and you can see, what we've got drawn in there right now is every piece of apparatus that we have up at that station right now. So you can see, it is it's kind of hard to judge because it looks like it's tight, but there's a, there's the appropriate amount of room between vehicles and walls in this fire station. Certainly nothing anywhere near close to what we have currently.
Your original building was built for a fire truck that was roughly 6 feet wide and 19 feet long.
Right, and that's,
Which is the same as-
Don had brought it up before about the OSHA requirements, we don't have the separation, et cetera, for apparatus.
Right, and some of the older vehicles that are there, you're never gonna get them in that size again. So today's trucks are more like 8 feet wide and 38 feet long. So we're looking at, anything that we would be replacing down the line is gonna be a bigger vehicle, so we might have a little bit of extra space now, but we're not gonna have, because of, water, you don't have water here in this town, so we need a cistern put in, where we don't have to depend on the brook and the river and whatever, so we can pick that up as well, right in the front of the building.
Is that in here? No, I'm saying, is that in this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, so part of the concern was, again, if we're basing this on safety, part of the thing is filling up trucks. Right now, people are climbing up on top of trucks, filling them up off.
Where's the cistern?
It would be out in the front area.
What does it go under?
The parking lot, right?
No, I know, under here, under
Yeah,
project summary. Plumbing?
and
No, it's a separate, I mean, it is in there. It's a
is that,
20,000 gallon cistern tank.
but going back to when we were going through the well issue on Main Street, do you think that's gonna work? I mean, we were seeing numbers coming out of those wells that weren't good, both in supply and quality.
What would that have to do with the cistern tank?
Standalone storage tank, we could fill it.
Oh, you're storing it,
Yeah.
you're bringing water to it, you're not, okay. All right.
With the existing well.
Don't,
Well,
From,
We could fill it from wherever we want.
Yeah.
we could fill it from wherever we want. We can get river water, we can truck it from another town, and it's
Right.
just a holding tank, basically.
Right.
That just, I don't want to get into a history lesson, but we know we lost, the Main Street, we used to have the Scantic River with the dam. It was easily for us to access drafting wise or the dry hydrant on the bridge, which we no longer think can do either one of those. So it just adds another level of fire, suppression for this area. Plus we can fill up safely in our own, department. It would be linked, it would be piped into the side of the fire station so we can easily fill trucks from inside back.
The architect says the cistern was listed under fire suppression.
Yeah.
so fire suppression isn't in the building,
Sprinklers and the cistern.
it's
It
sprinklers.
is sprinkled, yeah.
And we need to put the sprinklers because there's a second floor.
I think we need to put the sprinklers in regardless. I mean, we have, not only by code, but also we have millions of dollars worth of equipment in there. Why wouldn't we want to protect that?
Well,
I mean,
so can you just tell me, E2 is what?
engine two.
Okay, engine 2, engine 1, B is
brush,
brush truck.
T
Oh,
tanker.
sure, the brush truck.
Yeah.
Have we seen that yet? T is tanker, right? And SQ, squad,
Yeah,
rescue 1,
yep, it's a pickup truck.
antique.
Yep,
Oh, it's the antique one, right, okay.
Yep.
And
car one.
car 1.
That's ATV also.
Yep, and then the top left here is our UTV, off-road vehicle.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right. And so in the back, you've got storage, you've got your gear.
Yep, very back corner, we have our SCBA to fill our tanks, now in its own separate room, getting air from outside, not being in the middle of the apparatus bay, which should never be. Fire hose storage, and we've got a corridor, and we've got men's and women's bathroom and shower right off the bay, so when you come back, if you needed to, you can kind of decontaminate there. Washer and gear dryers for our equipment. Then down to the left, you see all those little boxes, that's where all our gear is stored in a separate room there. Then we've got a storage closet. Behind B1 is where we would have like mechanical storage, or if you have any equipment storage, workbench. Then we come down to what we call a public bathroom, if you will, and then a regular laundry. We have EMS storage. And then we've got into our training room, which is down in the bottom corner with this kitchen.
The training room will have a closet where all the furniture can go out, so that if we need to do first aid CPR, we can clear that space, kind of like we ended up doing in the police station in Wilbraham, where you can clear it out, open it up, dual purpose.
You currently don't have washer there, do you, or do you?
You do.
We have a gear extractor,
gear.
not a closed wash machine, it's a
Okay.
gear
Do
extractor.
you have to upgrade septic for this?
Well, yeah, the septic, a new septic plan
Is
in
included.
there.
Under what,
Excavation.
Yes.
general requirement, or
I think there's a line for,
you see earthwork and all
It's a
that
best
stuff?
practice if you can provide a washer dryer for
Oh,
your
sure.
people, so they don't wash their clothes if they have youngsters at home. If they're old like me, it doesn't matter, but the younger people, it's, my son's a fireman and he washes all his gear at the station.
Sure, right.
There is a detailed breakdown of every line, which goes into further detail of what's under each line item
Okay.
that the architect provided, so. I don't know, that's not in here, but you have it, right?
we'll have that for advisory.
What's the separation between the driveway and the new building? Ballpark?
Currently, if you,
The neighbor's driveway on the easement.
that's actually a good picture right there. So currently, the edge of the new building is at the driveway. So if you know where the driveway is right now, maybe a foot, there's a couple pins out there. It's about a foot or so from the existing driveway. Both corners, the front and back corner of the driveway. So yes, part of this is the driveway would need to be relocated. Again, we know we own that. That is an easement we own. The property obviously keeps going farther up to the right.
That's the property line right there.
Yeah,
It goes up to the right, but isn't the driveway pretty close to the stone wall already?
it's past it. Stone walls.
Well, there's several stone walls on that hill.
Yeah.
Retaining walls. It's not.
So no,
And if you relocate the driveway, which is a pre-existing driveway, it may have to be wider to be brought up to code, because that driveway dates from way back.
Entrance off the road?
The one going up to Bernie Clark's old house. Talk about that one.
Their driveway.
Yeah.
Is that thing that looks like a kidney, is that the cistern?
That's about the location of it, yes, sir.
That's where it would be. That's the actual grass. That's
that's a little island where that flagpole is right now, but it's actually drawn in. You can see it. We've got right next to that little shaded area, right to the left of it, Don. That's
Yeah.
the proposed.
So it's around, it's 4,700 square feet now, right?
Roughly about 5,000, the current 4,700 change
And we're gonna increase it to 12,348,
total, correct.
2,000 on the
2,000
second floor,
unfinished upstairs.
2,000 unfinished upstairs.
Where's the stair? Where's the access?
back door.
Back corner, halfway across the back, up the back, John, there's a stairwell. Yep, right there, exactly.
And is that also because you're gonna raise the middle bay?
Exactly. So the trusses will peak that up a little bit.
Correct.
Give it some continuity, and it'll get some additional height in that section.
And the purpose of the tall bay is bigger equipment someday. I'll long be gone before I get to vote against that. The bigger, longer, when you go to fix a thing, you can't open the,
Frontage.
That's
you
absolutely.
can't open the hood,
You can raise the cab inside,
but you can't do that now.
no.
The front of the building, so you can get from the base.
elevation.
The other,
That's a benefit, but not the purpose.
Yeah, no, I just,
and another thing too is, right now, if you guys been up there, since we really don't have any storage, we have so much stuff on the floor or against the wall.
Yeah, you
Having-
do.
It's terrible. Having wall space, and you can go to Wilbraham County Fire Department, you now have the ability to mount stuff on walls, get them off the ground, tools, equipment, hoses. So again, having taller walls in certain areas,
The existing restrooms are probably about the size of a porta potty. Maybe the porta potty is bigger, and probably maybe better as
Nice.
well.
Was the pad poured farther away than we needed to? If this,
it's good.
no, I'm saying this is outside this envelope?
Yeah, it is outside the building envelope.
Okay, good to know. We hate to go through another 4 years of that, right, Don? Sure. What's the timeline for something like this? I mean, if this goes through just the way you planned it here,
Right.
Better.
while you're doing, can you,
Construction?
right, in terms of keeping the fire department operational, or the building operational, what happens then?
Great question. I think, and that is sort of the benefit of maybe doing a remodel, is we can keep, call it the left side, the current part of the station up and running as long as possible. You know, in the ideal world, they would build the right side. So, you know, there would be a transition time. You know,
Try and make that during the warmer weather.
right, I mean, the ideal world, if it went through, if it passed this year in town meeting, we would get immediately the architect, project manager on board, get the project going. The ideal world is you would have the rest of this year and over the winter time, get bids out, get everything ready to go, and then start in the spring. That would be ideal for certainly equipment-wise, moving-wise, wouldn't be any faster than that. So, and again, that's just my thoughts on the time frame.
By state law, you would have to hire an OPM to manage that project
Yep.
because you're over 2 million.
Sure.
Is that in this cost?
It is not in this cost.
Well, it's the soft cost,
That could be
yes.
shot.
It is in this,
It's in soft cost.
Yes,
oh, it is,
absolutely.
These costs,
That's a negotiable one, though, however, with the OPM.
typically, isn't it in the 5 to 10% of the project cost?
2 to 3%, 2 to
Not a
3
lot of-
is what it's
Oh,
at.
11, okay.
these cost estimates I noticed are Boston Union area
Yep.
is,
Great question, I asked the same thing, I said,
are
okay.
we,
So-
are we a little cheaper out here?
And again, we're hoping certainly Western Mass union rates should be less. The thought certainly is if we had the ability to, you know, nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know what next year will bring. We don't even know what today is right now, you know, as far as where we're at. We would want to, with your guys' kind of guidance and a little help here, and maybe advisory, is what do you do about escalation? What do you do? That's a real question. I mean, it's changing daily. You know, one thing I do want to point out is when the architect came back with these breakdowns, they were at 9.8 total. We went through, we met last week as a group, and we went through line by line, because there is like a 20-page breakdown to this. We went through, we eliminated, cut, if you will, redesigned, and took out about $480,000 right off the bat. So these numbers, the sheet I sent you over the weekend of that 7.9 is kind of what we have is, I almost want to call it a today number. We have to talk about maybe a year, because they gave us escalations. They figure about 5% in normal times of an escalation. So that is a discussion we would have to have on the best way to approach that. I mean, the building's the building. We have the design. Like I said, we've worked a lot of angles here to try to get what gets us, checks off all the boxes, gets us a safe station to work out of, you know, separates the good from the bad as far as, you know, contaminants, gives us our storage, and gives us the potential to I hate to use expand, but for any future needs that the department might have.
Future-proof.
Right. You know, we've got now upwards of what, close to 30 people in the department. So again, you know, we have training right now at about 22 people in here. It's maxed out, there's no room. So, you know, we are blessed with having, you know, a good recruit. We've got a cadet program, so we're getting people coming in. So that kind of keeps us going certainly, but, you know, we want to continue that and have people be able to want to come to a station that they actually feel like, you know, we're in the fire business.
Okay, which is the number? Because you've got the C&E number here of 7.4, then your spreadsheet number is 7.9.
What I highlighted here, the 7.9, that's after we took, this cover sheet.
Yeah.
This one right here.
Okay,
So this, the 7.934435, that was
Okay.
the revised number after taking out $480,000, talking to the architect and reducing down the owner's contingency from 10% to 7%.
okay.
And the soft cost from their original 20% to 15%. So that's the 7.934435.
And that gets back to your point, because the soft cost wasn't detailed on that other breakdown sheet. Okay.
What we felt was that if, by taking the 480 out of the nut, so to speak, then we could adjust the compensatory ones as well.
And as you said, you
It was
could,
eliminating materials.
right, and you can always go back and do something with the second floor later. Once you've framed it, you can do whatever you want in the future.
You know,
Depends on heating vents, heating ducts, ductwork, which may run through there, so you might not have enough headroom in all areas up there.
Shorter firefighters.
And just for clarification, that second floor, when you raise that middle bay and you extend another bay of equal size so you can fit the larger trucks, you have to truss it.
Right there, yeah.
Because you're trussing it, that space is just there now, you know, to support the architecture, so.
Right, but you were talking about using it for storage, et cetera.
Right, correct.
Absolutely.
I mean, I love to use that as training, setting up, you know, rooms to search in and, you know, primary, secondary search. And we never had that kind of square footage before where we can do it, done it in the truck bays, you know, people climbing under.
When you go back to the senior center, as you recall, the heating, et cetera, is up, the truss area upstairs.
And that was the other thing, is doing this design, obviously, majority, that middle bay is in the middle of the building, mechanicals can be centrally located there, and then branch out from there. So
Right.
again, we also designed it, I think Ed mentioned too, is more or less all the plumbing is on the left side, going in one row. There's no plumbing now in the corner, the bathrooms are gone from where they're at. So again, trying to be efficient, you know, generators in the back, electrical service will be in the back, trying to keep things
Easy for service later, too.
clean as far as construction goes too. You know, and it's, you know, we've already sort of figured in our head too, is, you know, we have to move equipment, we've got highway right there. It depends on what time of year this happens, but, you know, we've got highway, so we'll figure out a way. We will be operational, we have to be.
Right.
This enables us to be operational.
And, you know, we looked at, you know, what if you relocated totally? It's just out of sight.
No, but the question had to be asked. Right, I mean, you're so high, how much more is it for a whole new
I
thing?
did some research on this building, I was shocked at what it originally cost. It was 36,000, and you got a grant from the federal government of 15 of that 36.
In what, 64?
64. And then the following year, the well failed. So they had to put the second well in after that.
Yeah,
Conservative estimate, a new building, this building, new somewhere else would be 15 million.
And those were rough numbers we had asked the architect, because
Right.
we knew that there was going to come up, you know.
Right.
but we have to have that answer.
Oh, absolutely, and so do we. Again, to get us the space safe, all in one spot off North Road, this design actually works, because remember, you know, to put two more bays, you know, we looked at designs with bays going the other way, doesn't work, you can't do it with the roofs. This capitalizes on what we have. Go up in the middle, then you can actually mirror now on the right what we have more or less on the left. So
Right.
this was the architect.
No, I originally thought that we could get by with two larger bays on the right, but that was leaving the bay in the back.
Correct.
And like you say, that doesn't let the flow work properly, like this sign design
It's
does.
dangerous trying to get that huge tanker truck around, you
Exactly.
can't park, so,
Right.
and we didn't talk about it too, but with this design now, guys, parking, it's in the back. If you kind of figure the parking's in the back now, because we do have a lot of room between the back of the
We
station.
went through and we, you know, from these designs, there are windows that are not there any longer as part of the cutting process.
Right.
And a couple of doors, and just carved where we could carve to achieve that 480.
Took a complete brick facade change.
Yeah, we don't need brick on the north
side.
side nor the back. Brick went away.
Brick
It's
con,
$144,000.
right there. So again, we took a scalpel to a lot that we know we just don't need. We're not looking for frills, we're just looking for utility.
Sure, there's other things we can, you know, as project, if it
And when
takes off.
when we did Wilbraham, we did a lot of things with relative to owner will provide. So you're providing appliances, but you're not providing them at the markup of the architect or
And
the
the
builder.
contractor.
Right,
And that doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up to a lot.
oh, yeah. Well, like my dad always said, the town doesn't need to make a profit.
No,
Right.
So how long is this building gonna last us?
100 years?
we're gonna be here. You
Well, no offense to you, let's hear from,
can ask the youngest one, it's still gonna be.
Again, part of what.
No, I'm asking, what do you see as the future of the department?
This
I mean,
should,
this-
this should take us easily 25 years, if not longer, into the future, easily.
The one thing that's not gonna change is the width of trucks, because they have to change all the highways
Right.
in America and bridges. So 8 feet's about as big as wide as they're going to be. The weights have changed considerably. The truck that was bought for $18,000 in 1966, we just ordered one in Wilbraham, and it's now $990,000. And that's ludicrous, and it's 48 months delivery.
Is that a ladder or?
Even ambulances now, 28 months delivery.
Yeah, I saw Williams,
Yeah.
I think it's Williamstown Williamsburg just bought an ambulance for 450,000.
Yeah,
Well,
But
In terms of-
I asked that question because I'm not a believer in 24/7, that we'll ever get to 24/7 fire service in town.
well, I took a look at,
but would it serve? That's our thought, but if that ever came to pass, would this building serve? You don't have, it would, okay.
It would, you could also.
Be adaptable.
I mean, it could, yeah, it could be adaptable, where you could have, say EMS is contracted out, you could put a requirement that they house their vehicles here, and that would save the town money. There's no reason they couldn't operate out of town. You know, they've done it in other towns, so I don't see why.
I took the liberty of looking at your last 5-year assessments in terms of property, either commercial, industrial, or residential, and then personal property. So in '21, it was 673 million. This year is 977 million of the combining of those numbers. So your assessments are going up. I would imagine that you're going to get requests for more and more services just because that's the American way today. We did a good job of telling people about 911, and now they call it all the time.
For everything.
We're running in Wilbraham somewhere to 16 to 18 calls a day. And a lot of those are ambulance. 75% of our service over there is that. So this can accommodate that. I don't say we should go to that. I'm just saying that it's irresponsible for us to even come up with a building that doesn't service at least 20 years.
And materials we're using, again, block construction. You know, we're not all of a sudden changing what we're doing to wood. We're keeping it as similar as possible. Brick, as far as I'm concerned, guys, on the front, that's it. That's all we need, just to kind of match what's on the left, so. And again, on the south side, north side will be block, it's kind of into the wall, that can be block. So again, you know, steel and block is, you know, the materials we use.
Well, you've obviously put a lot of thought and work into this, and it's very appreciated, and we'll see what the town says.
And if it were to advance, you know, we would like to look at perhaps creating a video of the existing station and deal with the marketing of the real things that are there and what it does.
What do you think? I mean, you just gave us a little preview of your presentation. You're going to do it again possibly at the advisory hearing in 2 weeks.
The architects are on board to coming to the.
But in terms of the town meeting, are you going to present, which I think is better than having the outside person do it?
When we send out the contract for the architect, how about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I believe
absolutely.
the architect is gonna,
I have to say, what we learned, Don, from before, I think it speaks better from a town
Yeah, I
person.
mean,
Be
certainly,
there to
they'll be there to
answer. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So are you asking who's going to bring it forward?
Yes, and I think, I mean, you got 3 minutes, make it worthwhile.
Right.
And the thought was the architect will be there for technicals.
Sure.
He's not going to present.
Right, good.
No, not at all. They're there as
I think what we learned
yeah,
recently, yeah.
correct. Right. So
Right.
Great.
work with whatever time we have.
And I think we had discussed in our meeting, all the documentation that Mark's got, once it's finalized, we'd like to put it on the website.
We do, oh, absolutely.
To make it available to the
The actual
public as soon as
detail and
possible.
breakdown, we want to get that to you guys, because like I said, we made some last minute $480,000 of cuts, which they haven't had a chance to update that, and they're gone.
All right.
Great,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
Thank you.
Gary, take us.
The kids doing good, they're doing good. They're John's got his own photography business in Boston.
Oh, nice.
Christina's the vice president of the University of Vermont Hospital. And Tanya is a lawyer.
Who used to work for?
I haven't seen him since
School.
80s.
He's right.
maybe the 70s.
Yeah.
But we miss you as our sealer, you know, since we dropped all those people and, you know, the state said you couldn't work here anymore.
Yeah. How's it working out?
Sure.
I don't know.
The state pays for it, or do they bill you?
I have no idea what they do, but remember?
I don't know if they seal it anymore.
Yeah, basically. I don't get my gas in town, I go someplace that's got a real estate insurance.
I don't know if they bill us or not, right?
No, I miss seeing them on a
I
regular.
don't think they do.
What do you guys up to?
I'm like,
Good to see you, Gary.
Stay busy.
Still working?
no, not there.
No?
State of Connecticut.
Water District Appointment Commissioner thing. What do we got?
Ready with it.
John, we're ready for you.
Dylan. You too. Yes,
Come on
hi,
over.
Gary.
Go on.
Hey, how you doing, guys? I'm well, thank you. Wow, you got sunburned.
That's who that is.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Not the better.
Dale?
Hail.
Hi, good evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
We have a position open on the water commissioners. Dale volunteered to join our board, and we're asking for permission from the board.
Are you gonna be hooked up, Dale, or no? I can't remember.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Hmm.
Interesting thing, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, I'll speak, I know Dale personally for decades, it seems like.
Yeah.
Although he's much younger than me.
Scores, scores.
Scores?
Yes.
Nice. But he's come from a great family line. He's always been very involved and one of the best scoutmasters we ever had, too. So, I mean, a
Thank you for that.
ringing endorsement. When he gets into something, he gives his all. He really does.
Yes, Dale, you have some background in water stuff, right?
Yeah, and I'm actually approaching like 50 years in the construction business,
Oh,
and most of that is infrastructure. And, you know, I got the letter for the original open house, and I looked on the website, and they said, oh, there's a vacancy. So I said, you know, why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
great.
I'll make a motion to appoint Dale Hatch to the vacant position of water commissioner. I don't know the term to be determined by the town administrator.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Last chance.
Quick, all in favor?
Aye.
I can talk to Brian about the duration,
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
make sure they're all aligned, yeah.
make sure it's
Terms line up, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got to get
Give them all
sworn
your
in.
notes.
He's got to get sworn in by Eva too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I heard it, really?
She's down, she might still be down there right
She
now.
might be down there, yeah.
Down there, she was when I came up.
Oh, yeah,
Shocking. Okay, great.
great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
You're in now. You're in the deep water now.
Literally.
Budget review, what do we got? We got too much money in the budget.
It has not changed since we last looked at it.
All right. As far as I know, the only thing I need to get you the number, Brian, for next week for enterprise.
Right.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, because we got the advisories next week, right?
that's why we need that
Advisory
number
next
for
week.
that warrant article.
We have bag gear?
No. But last year, we did need extra money. I don't see the revenue side really increasing, and we know the expenses are going up, at
Yeah.
least for salary. And also, we know that the number from McNamara had a pretty good increase built in, so we're gonna need more from the tax side,
Okay.
which want to give the solar money to the enterprise fund.
You already gave it away to conservation, didn't you?
That was a joint vote, I believe. Okay.
Annual review and sign the annual town meeting warrant. How are we doing on that? Can you explain to me again this?
No, let's not. The CPA thing?
Yeah,
No.
is it on or off?
One is, one isn't. Right, Brian?
The Minichog Land Trust stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, so last, town meeting, we appropriated $110,000 of CPA funds. That $110,000 included the purchase price of the property plus transactional costs. So the confusion, so that appropriated money, but it didn't authorize the board to actually make the purchase of the property. So that's where Article 28 comes in here. Article 28 is it's not an appropriation article, it's an authorization article that allows the board to purchase the property for a specific price. Now, the 110 is not correct. I talked with Sherry from the Minnetonka Land Trust this afternoon, and we cleared up that that's not the actual price. She's gonna send me the appraisal that they had for that property, and that's the amount that can be put in there. I also talked with town council about putting language that talks about not to exceed a purchase price of whatever the appraisal is, and that will give the board latitude in terms of if you think the purchase price is too much or that kind of stuff. But as a matter of law, we can't pay more than the appraised value of the property, which was part of the problem. The article that used to be on here, which is now taken off, was the request for, after the town bought the property, to issue a conservation restriction to Minnetonka Land Trust on 1.5 acres of the 2.3 acre parcel. And Minnetonka Land Trust has agreed to withdraw that because they don't have the boundaries of the conservation restriction. They're hoping to get that. Article 29B is their request for funding to design, engineer, and construct the trailhead improvements, parking and trailhead improvements, which I don't know exactly where that's going to be until they do that, which means we can't define the bounds of the conservation restriction until they do that. So that one's off.
All 29.
What used to be, yeah, old 29 is off.
Old 29,
Yeah. So that will clear up that.
okay.
Everything else is essentially the same.
What if the town doesn't vote in favor of Article 31, even though it's state law?
Article 31,
So
accessory dwelling unit.
our zoning bylaws would be preempted by the portion of the state zoning act that says by right,
The Wild West will continue, basically, which is technically what it is right now.
which, not 800 feet, 900 feet?
800.
800 square feet would be by right as a matter of state law. We could deny it, but then, so our building inspector could deny the building permit, then they would appeal the building permit, go to the ZBA, and then we go to court, and the court would say, state law preempts your local bylaw, issue the permit, give you out money.
So if the town votes no on 31, do our bylaws get rewritten, or do they just stay the way they are until somebody approaches that topic?
So our bylaws can remain how they are, how they're written, they can't make us change them.
Okay.
But they would not be enforceable if they were challenged.
Okay, do we have I know I've seen the text for the BESS one. Do we have the text for the ADU?
So I talked to town council about this. Because the planning board public hearing is happening on April 16th, after this is going to be posted, if we were to post their public hearing text in the warrant, we would have to go through and essentially make any additional edits that they make on the floor of town meeting. Because that's what's going to be, that's what would have been posted.
Right.
So the only requirement for the warrant is that we give notice of the topics to be discussed. So the downside to that I talked to town council about is there's a shorter amount of time that people have to digest the proposal. The public hearing draft is available currently because it's required to be noticed, so.
Where is that?
Oh, it's on file with the town clerk.
Not online.
I don't know if they put it online. They should if they have not.
Well, I think if we post the warrant online, I think we could post draft at least of the two
I would agree.
amendments.
I would agree
And
that
just-
it should be on the town
Just say they're drafts right now, but
meeting.
that'll give you 90% of the sense, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand, I remember the time when we rewrote zoning and I said, how are you gonna put it in the 5 places approved in town? And you can't put 40 pages on there. You
Right.
say available at the town clerk for review.
Yep.
And again, we're hoping that the school committee does something about the other article.
Oh, John's pushing that one, huh? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, John brought it up at the school committee meeting last week, so, yeah,
He did.
as well as the Kubota, I believe, as well.
He asked how many Kubotas they had.
He asked how many?
Yeah,
What would they say?
They get back,
3. Then they said, well, we'll get back to you.
yeah.
That's me.
That's you. It's an expensive piece of equipment there, you don't want to lose it.
I do that every meeting. All right, anything else in here?
Quickly, Brian, do you want to bring up that request from Becky before we go to meet
We
Mark
gotta,
for all the stuff?
we gotta,
Well, I thought we'd have Mark up for both things since he's the next thing.
no, we gotta sign this, do this, vote this.
Yeah, don't you have like 7, just last pages over there for us?
Yeah, I just noticed they're all double-sided, so let me print them out. I'll get them for you. You can still vote, though, if you wanted to.
We wanna sign them tonight, don't we?
We can vote on it.
Yeah.
Vote now, and I'll get them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have them in the office, okay. Make a motion to close and officially publish the town meeting warrant for the town meeting, May 12th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have the dog letter. to
I
sign.
liked it.
Right. And we have a request, a unexpected request for a liquor permit for the senior center.
Yes, it's the art show, I believe, right? You've seen it advertised around town.
Yeah, there's signs up.
Their typical one. And I said, heck, didn't they withdraw one 2 or 3 weeks ago?
They did.
Yeah, so. A motion to approve the request for the, is it the Hampden Art Guild?
Artisans.
Artisans.
Scannick River Artisans.
Scannick River Artisans.
Right, for a wine and beer permit,
April 12th and 13th.
April 12th and 13th, for the times requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we have the highway
Painting
department.
sell better. See, that's their plan.
Yeah.
They have a couple of
Everything looks like,
Cabernets.
everything looks like a Picasso.
It looks better.
Everything looks like Picasso.
We have the highway department, superintendent of the highway department. You have some bids?
Yes.
Any comparisons to last year, really? Like the street cleaning and the catch basin and.
Street sweeping went up $2.
Oh, okay, so this isn't
Basin
like,
cleaning actually went down $5
okay, good,
from last year's price was $205.
great.
So we're saving 3.
Save $3.
Asphalt, that's kind of a moving target, but I think I did include last year's, Lauren had printed out last year's spreadsheet.
Yes.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's a little bit cheaper this year, a little bit cheaper.
Two, can do Award 2, right, for the asphalt? Is that you're hoping to do, or no?
Yes, so this year, it was recommended, and I thought it was a really good idea that we award the top, or the lowest 2 bidders for the asphalt, FOB, the pickleball plant. This gives us a little bit more flexibility as far as, say if, like what happened last year where one company, the company that had won the bid, they were several miles away. You run into other situations such as you get all the way to a plant and it's closed, or it's shut down because they're working on something. So this kind of gives us the flexibility to go to the second bidder. As chance would have it, the top, or the lowest 2, they're right around the corner from each other, if we.
The True Stone used to be somebody else before.
Gleason.
Oh, they were Gleason, okay.
Yes. Yeah, on Berkshire Ave.
And Northeast Paving isn't around anymore, or?
Well, they didn't put a bid in this year.
Oh, they killed it last year. Oh. They were low last year.
That's right.
That's probably why they,
Well, out of business.
like, yeah, we gotta rein it back.
So, yeah, basically, what I sent along was everybody's bids for all three services, and then at the end was my recommendations.
How many,
Sorry.
how many tons, how many tons do you buy, like, when you do your, like we did that section of Allen Street, how many tons of asphalt?
Oh, geez. That was probably several hundred.
Really?
Did you use Wind River last year?
I'm sorry?
Did we use Wind River last year?
We did not.
I thought it's always been JR for like forever.
It has. So what I had done is JR had agreed to hold their pricing. And so with that, we can agree together to extend the contract. I think I've sent letters out to the board in the past.
Right. Are we familiar?
I mean, I have no complaints about JR at all.
No, I mean,
you
they've
know,
been doing it forever, but I mean, you've got 20% difference in price. How do you,
Right.
right?
So, I'll have to just see how this, Wind River, they've got I think their head office is somewhere in Mass, like maybe Marlboro or something like that. And they've got kind of satellite locations in different areas. They service the Springfield area. I know Munson had them for the same service and didn't have any
Okay,
complaints.
so you check references, so to speak.
Yes, yep. But there's a deadline listed on the bid specifications.
You said
I wondered myself how they could be that much cheaper, but
You said we went down on asphalt by $5?
down to asphalt.
No, what did you say earlier?
Street sweep.
Street sweep.
I'm sorry, Craig, catch basin.
Catch basin.
Yes.
So in what you had written here, the contract may be valid for 1 year. The contract may be extended for up to 2 additional 12-month periods. Was that in our last year's work?
Yes, I
So
believe it was.
now, you said that the company that we went last year is no longer, didn't submit a bid.
Correct.
So we can't extend with them if they were a lower price?
We could. Problem is, they're 20 miles
The
away.
plant.
Yeah, is it tough?
It's
So economically, was it?
18 miles to be exact.
Yeah.
And you have to maintain the temperature.
Correct.
Makes it
Yeah.
hard.
Are you finding it hard to maintain that temperature, bringing stuff back and working with it?
Yes.
You are, okay.
Not so much during the very warm summer months, but you start getting into like spring and fall, and it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. You end up, you use what you can use. You actually end up having to get more to keep a certain amount warm in the truck. Like the inside, it acts as like a shell or an insulator.
How close are these 2 new places are you recommending compared
10
to?
and 11 miles, I think it was. Berkshire Ave is one, and then Palmer is about the same distance, whether we go to the Palmer plant in Palmer or the Springfield plant. It's on, I forgot the name of the road, but it's over by 291, O'Brien's Corner.
Yeah,
Next to those
Ish.
people.
so
Next to
the
those
mileage
people over
difference,
there.
the mileage difference makes a difference in keeping that temperature hotter?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll make a motion that we endorse the highway superintendent's recommendations and award the contracts to the people listed, the companies listed.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
And,
I started on.
Brian, perhaps that could be expanded in the minutes to show the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have, what do we got now? We got select board members' reports.
The Senior Center Building Committee met this morning and finalized a number that I believe was sent out to the board for their recommendation for the Senior Center repair article. And I believe 230 was the number, Brian?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I received that this afternoon, and I forwarded it out to the board. There it is.
And the planning board is going to be busy with a public hearing. I don't know if you heard back, Brian, I saw that Concom is having a Zoom hearing the same night. And I don't know which one would get more play, but work out the room arrangement, I guess.
Yep.
And that's it.
Fire Department Building Committee met last week, but they were all here, so we know the outcome of that. That's it.
We'll meet like Saturday morning or something, did they, or was it?
No, last week I think it was maybe it was on a Saturday, I don't remember. It was on a Saturday morning.
The only thing I have to report is, you know, that there was a multiple mediation at the Wilbraham Middle School, and it was $400,000. And the regional committee paid for that out of their E&D account, and they're waiting for insurance reimbursement. I pointed out to the superintendent that the Wilbraham lease would appear to require the town of Wilbraham to pay for the mold remediation rather than the school committee, because the lease says that if there's any structural or non-structural damage, ordinary or extraordinary, foreseen or unforeseen, or even in the case of such casualties deemed as the nature of the acts of God, that the town would be, the landlord, which would be the town, would be responsible for it, up to over $30,000. And the reason I brought that up is I thought it's really important to keep the E&D to be used for education rather than, so he is looking into that and said that we'll see what happens with the insurance, and if they don't, he'll certainly approach the town. Which goes back to our entire discussion about who's responsible for
Existing
maintaining the building.
conditions.
Right.
I did see they used some of the E&D to reduce the assessment.
Assessment as well, yeah.
Which has been past practice for many years.
All right, anything else? Oh, town administrator's report?
One issue that's come up is whether we want to extend a letter of credit. So the town had to take out a letter of credit when it applied to Verizon for pole attachment license agreements. And we've been trying to push this down the road as far as we can. But the bank really wants to know if we want to, and Verizon wants it, the letter of credit extended. There's an annual fee to that of a couple $1,000s. So we pay the fee and the licenses stay active with Verizon, or if we don't pay the fee, then the letter of credit is going to be taken away, and the licenses would be considered by Verizon to be null and void. So if we were ever to go down the route of municipal fiber, then we would need to go back through the whole license, pole attachment, aerial survey.
Which was quite expensive, I recall.
Yes.
It was paid for by the grant, right?
Well, that
$200,000.
reminds me, what happened to that shortfall that, remember they came back and said there was extra work that wasn't covered by the grant, and like 40 grand or something like that?
I think we covered that at ARPA, right?
It was an ARPA expenditure.
Paid it out of our, yeah.
Right, so I think we're trying to balance the likelihood that that project's gonna continue to go forward, and we're also, the wild card is what's Charter gonna do, because they've made some statements that they're gonna do a fiber to the node upgrades in town, but now that's been pushed back 10 months now, and we don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
And didn't Verizon ask for a letter of approval, interest, for us to allow them to come in and do something too?
I think that was Charter.
Yeah.
I think that was Charter.
I thought it was Verizon.
I think it's
Verizon had.
smart to keep the LLC open. I hate to say it, it shows maybe to Charter
We're
that we're
still
keeping our options open. So, and as you said, it's not huge money. Right.
So I'll ask the treasurer to renew it for 1 year, and then we'll see where we are. And I'll reach out to Charter again and press them on if they're serious or they're, can't say that on TV, not serious.
Okay. Any word on the flagpole insurance thing, or?
Mark might have an answer for that.
Is insurance going to cover replacement of the flagpole?
claim will be filed with the motorist
Right.
insurance company.
Right.
It could take some time, but the flagpole's been ordered. I don't have a delivery date yet, but it's been ordered, a new light, a new flag, light, and pole from the local flagpole company that we discovered.
Oh, Century's out of business?
They are not out of business, but the last time we had to replace a flagpole, they were kind of phasing out their flagpole side of their business.
I think you told me I bought the last one they had in stock.
I
Yeah,
believe that's true, yes.
no deal though. Just like full price.
So what usually happens in a situation like this is, you know, I've got the invoice for the flagpole and the other items. You know, I was gonna pay for that out of the SRA account. And then, now that I have the invoice, I can put a package together and send it to the insurance company for
Okay.
the claims department.
All right, if you want both bases to match, I do have a bunch of cobblestones that match, that I bought to go around the newer flagpole. If when you want to do the project and put the new one up, I'm happy to donate those, and they can be set up so both bases look alike.
Sure.
All right.
Just two
I was thinking about that the other day too.
Okay.
quick items for town meeting. Parking lot lights. We did that last time. I don't know how dark it's gonna, I have no idea how long town meeting's gonna last, so I don't know how dark it's gonna be. It's obviously gonna be light when people arrive, but could be dark when they leave. That was an additional expense. Mark rented some lights.
Right.
I don't know if the board wants to do that again.
Well, I think it'd be better at the beginning. The last time we got them for the fall town meeting, which was obviously much worse. I mean, obviously the leaving part, it'll be dark then, because even knocking out a couple of warrant articles, Brian, you still got us at 11:30. So, Mark, they weren't terribly expensive, were they? Those little highway lights you got that time.
I don't think they were.
I want to say it was a total of around 500.
Yeah,
that's what I thought, yeah.
Let's do it. Both of them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Okay. And then, obviously, childcare.
I'd reach out to Steve again.
Okay.
You know, you get those groups like the Key Club, they're always looking for commitments that help their
Projects,
Key Club, Above the Influence Club, Lumberjack Club, all of them.
Lumberjack.
Yeah, I think it's a group that, they don't affiliate with any other projects, so they're like, all the kids who don't have a chess club, something like that, are lumped together in that kind of club. They want to participate without a label per se.
So it's a no label club?
No, it's called the Lumberjack Club, I'm telling
So
you.
they have a label.
Yeah, but they're not like the chess club, the AV club, or something like that.
I don't know whether to believe them.
Yeah, I know, I'm like looking, are they this serious?
Mary Ellen probably remembers, we've used them before. Great kids.
Okay.
Can I make one suggestion to that? Because I know it became an issue at one of the town meetings, is advertising how long they're going to stay until.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because they left early.
Yeah,
Oh, for the childcare?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose, subject to MGL 30A, Section 21A, Section 2, really? To conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiation with non-union personnel, or to conduct a collective bargaining session with the highway superintendent without a return to open session.
Second.
John Flynn, aye.
All right,
Craig Rivers, aye.
all right, executive session, throwing you out.
Thank you.
I'm leaving.
And the hundreds of people online, too.
Oh, yeah.
You have to watch the championship game instead.
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's tonight.
You got screwed.